In a world filled with constant noise, endless comparisons, and distractions competing for our attention every moment of the day, it has become increasingly difficult to focus on what truly matters. Social media encourages us to measure our lives against carefully edited images of success. Public opinion often seems louder than personal conviction. The pressure to explain ourselves, defend our choices, and seek approval from others can become exhausting. Yet some of the most important lessons in life are learned away from the spotlight. True growth rarely announces itself. Real transformation often happens quietly, behind closed doors, in moments when no one is watching and no one is applauding. This powerful motivational message, inspired by the timeless wisdom associated with CS. Lewis explores the deeper principles of self-discipline, humility, faith, emotional maturity, wisdom, and personal development. It serves as a reminder that your value is not determined by public recognition, and your purpose is not dependent on the approval of others. Many people spend years trying to prove themselves to the world, only to discover that lasting fulfillment comes from becoming the person God created them to be, rather than becoming the person others expect them to be. One of the greatest challenges in modern life is learning to remain focused on your own journey while surrounded by the opinions, achievements, and expectations of countless other people. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to destroy peace, confidence, and gratitude. When you constantly compare your progress to someone else's success, you lose sight of the unique path God has prepared for you. Every person has different gifts, different struggles, different opportunities, and different seasons of growth. What appears to be success on the outside may hide challenges that nobody else can see. Wisdom teaches us to stop measuring our lives against others and instead focus on becoming better than we were yesterday. Growth is not a competition. It is a personal journey that requires patience, commitment, and trust in God's timing. Self-discipline plays a critical role in that journey. While motivation may come and go, discipline allows us to continue moving forward, even when we do not feel inspired. Discipline is choosing long-term purpose over short-term comfort. It is the ability to remain faithful to your responsibilities, even when no one is watching. It is waking up with determination, staying committed to your goals, and refusing to allow temporary emotions to control permanent decisions. Many people wait until they feel ready before taking action, but disciplined individuals understand that action often comes before confidence. They recognize that success is built through consistent effort over time, rather than occasional bursts of enthusiasm. Faith strengthens this discipline by reminding us that our work has meaning even when immediate results are not visible. Some of the most important progress in life happens beneath the surface, just as roots grow underground long before a tree becomes visible above the ground. Another powerful lesson explored in this message is the importance of humility. In a culture that constantly encourages self-promotion, humility can sometimes be misunderstood as weakness. In reality, humility is a form of strength. It is the ability to remain grounded regardless of success or failure. Humility allows us to continue learning, growing, and improving because we recognize that we do not have all the answers. It protects us from pride and keeps our hearts open to wisdom. Humble people understand that they do not need to constantly advertise their achievements. They are secure enough to let their actions speak for themselves. They do not seek validation from every person they meet because they understand that their identity is rooted in something deeper than public opinion. Emotional maturity is another essential aspect of personal growth. Life will always bring criticism, misunderstandings, disappointments, and challenges. No matter how carefully you live, there will be people who disagree with your choices or misunderstand your intentions. Emotional maturity teaches us that not every criticism deserves a response, and not every conflict deserves our attention. Sometimes the strongest response is silence. Sometimes protecting your peace means refusing to engage in unnecessary arguments. Wisdom allows us to recognize the difference between
constructive feedback that helps us grow, and negative opinions that only distract us from our purpose. Mature individuals do not allow every comment, accusation, or disagreement to control their emotions.
Instead, they remain focused on what truly matters and refuse to give away their peace to circumstances they cannot control. Healthy boundaries are an important part of maintaining that peace. Many people struggle because they feel responsible for managing everyone else's expectations. They say yes when they should say no. They carry burdens that were never meant to be theirs. They sacrifice their own well-being in an attempt to keep everyone around them happy. Yet healthy boundaries are not selfish. They are necessary for emotional and spiritual health. Boundaries protect your energy, your focus, and your ability to fulfill your purpose. They allow you to serve others without losing yourself in the process. They create space for reflection, growth, and meaningful relationships built on mutual respect rather than constant obligation. This message also highlights the importance of resilience. Every meaningful journey includes obstacles. There will be moments of uncertainty, setbacks, and disappointment. Dreams may take longer than expected. Opportunities may not arrive according to your schedule. Doors may close without explanation. During those seasons, resilience becomes essential. Resilience is the ability to continue moving forward despite difficulties. It is the determination to remain faithful when progress seems slow. It is the courage to keep believing when circumstances suggest giving up. Faith provides the foundation for this resilience because it reminds us that setbacks are not the end of the story. Difficult seasons often prepare us for future opportunities that we cannot yet see. Challenges develop character, patience, wisdom, and strength. The lessons learned during adversity often become the tools that help us succeed later in life. Throughout this inspiring message, viewers are encouraged to embrace quiet confidence. Quiet confidence does not depend on applause, recognition, or external validation. It comes from knowing who you are, understanding your purpose, and trusting God's plan for your life. It allows you to pursue your goals without constantly seeking approval from others. It gives you the freedom to work diligently in silence while allowing your results to speak for themselves. Not every goal needs to be announced. Not every victory needs to be displayed. Some of the most meaningful achievements occur away from public attention, where character is developed, faith is strengthened, and purpose is refined. As you continue your personal journey, remember that growth takes time. Success is not measured solely by achievements, wealth, or recognition. True success is becoming the person God created you to be. It is developing wisdom, integrity, patience, discipline, humility, and faith. It is learning to protect your peace, focus on your purpose, and trust the process even when progress feels slow. The world may celebrate noise, but lasting transformation often happens in silence. When you remain faithful, disciplined, and focused on your own path, you build a foundation that cannot be shaken by comparison, criticism, or temporary setbacks. Through faith, perseverance, and quiet determination, you can continue growing into the person you were always meant to become. As you move forward on this journey, it becomes increasingly important to understand that growth is not always visible. Many people become discouraged because they expect immediate results from their efforts. They want instant success, instant recognition, and instant change. However, some of the most valuable developments in life take place gradually. Character is built day by day. Wisdom is gained lesson by lesson. Trust is strengthened experience by experience. Just because you cannot see dramatic progress today does not mean meaningful progress is not happening. A seed does not become a tree overnight, yet every day it continues developing beneath the surface. In the same way, every act of discipline, Every decision to remain faithful and every moment spent choosing what is right over what is easy contributes to the person you are becoming. One of the greatest mistakes people make is abandoning the process simply because the results are taking longer than expected. Patience is not passive waiting. It is active trust. It is continuing to do the right thing while believing that your efforts will eventually bear fruit. Many individuals quit just before their breakthrough because they become discouraged by temporary difficulties. They assume that obstacles mean they are moving in the wrong direction, when in reality, challenges are often signs that growth is taking place. Strength cannot develop without resistance. Courage cannot develop without fear. Perseverance cannot develop without hardship. The difficulties you face today may be preparing you for responsibilities and opportunities that you are not yet able to see. Another important lesson is learning how to guard your mind. The thoughts you allow to remain in your mind eventually influence your actions, emotions, and decisions. If you constantly focus on fear, doubt, negativity, and comparison, your perspective will become clouded. You will begin seeing obstacles where opportunities exist and limitations where possibilities remain. On the other hand, when you intentionally fill your mind with wisdom, truth, gratitude, and faith, you develop a stronger foundation for facing life's challenges. This does not mean ignoring reality or pretending problems do not exist. It means choosing not to allow temporary circumstances to define your outlook. Faith teaches us to look beyond present difficulties and trust that God is still working even when we cannot fully understand what He is doing. There will also be seasons when loneliness becomes part of your growth. Not everyone will understand your vision. Not everyone will support your decisions. Some people will question your choices simply because they cannot see what you see. During those moments, it is tempting to seek approval or alter your path to satisfy others. Yet maturity requires the courage to remain committed to your purpose even when support is limited. Some journeys must be walked alone for a season. This does not mean you are abandoned. It means you are being strengthened. Solitude often provides the clarity necessary for personal development. It creates space for reflection, prayer, learning, and self-discovery. Many of the world's greatest leaders, thinkers, and people of faith experience seasons of isolation before stepping into greater purpose. They learned to rely on conviction rather than applause, and faith rather than public approval. It is also essential to recognize that not every opportunity is meant for you. Sometimes growth requires saying no to good opportunities in order to remain available for the right opportunities. Many people become overwhelmed because they try to pursue every possibility that appears before them. They fear missing out, so they spread their energy across too many commitments. As a result, they become exhausted, distracted, and unable to fully invest in what matters most. Wisdom involves discernment. It means understanding that every open door should not automatically be entered. Some opportunities are distractions disguised as advantages. Some invitations pull you away from your purpose rather than toward it. Learning to say no is often just as important as learning to say yes. Every meaningful accomplishment requires focus, and focus requires sacrifice. You cannot give your best energy to everything. You must choose what deserves your attention and what must be released. Gratitude is another powerful force that strengthens personal growth. In a culture that constantly encourages people to pursue more, gratitude reminds us to appreciate what we already have. It shifts our focus from what is missing to what is present. Grateful people are not free from challenges, but they refuse to allow challenges to blind them to blessings. They recognize that every day contains opportunities, lessons, relationships, and experiences worth appreciating. Gratitude creates peace because it breaks the cycle of endless dissatisfaction. Instead of constantly chasing the next achievement, grateful individuals learn to find joy in the present moment while continuing to work toward future goals. This balance creates a healthier and more fulfilling approach to success. There is also tremendous value in learning how to remain calm during uncertainty. Life rarely unfolds exactly as planned. Unexpected changes, delays, disappointments, and setbacks are inevitable. The ability to remain steady during uncertain times is one of the clearest signs of emotional and spiritual maturity. Calmness is not the absence of challenges, it is the presence of confidence despite challenges. It is the ability to trust that temporary confusion does not eliminate long-term purpose. When circumstances become difficult, many people react impulsively out of fear. They make decisions based on panic rather than wisdom. Yet, those who cultivate faith learn to pause, reflect, pray, and respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally. This inner stability becomes a source of strength, not only for themselves, but also for those around them. As you continue pursuing growth, remember that integrity matters more than image. The world often rewards appearance, but lasting success is built on character. Character determines what you do when no one is watching. It influences how you treat people who cannot benefit you. It shapes the decisions you make when faced with temptation, pressure, and uncertainty. Reputation may open doors, but character determines whether you can remain there. A strong foundation of integrity provides confidence because you know your actions align with your values. You no longer need to create a false image or seek constant validation because your worth comes from something deeper than public perception. The path of personal growth is not always easy, but it is always worthwhile. Every lesson learned, every challenge overcome, every habit strengthened, and every act of faith contributes to a life of greater purpose and meaning. While the world may encourage shortcuts, true growth requires commitment. While others seek attention, you can choose substance. While many become distracted by comparison, you can remain focused on your own calling. And while others are consumed by the need for recognition, you can continue building quietly, trusting that what is developed with patience, wisdom, discipline, and faith will endure far longer than anything built solely for applause. There is a quiet strength that develops within a person who has learned to trust the process of growth. It is not the strength that comes from physical power, financial success, or public recognition. It is a deeper kind of strength that comes from overcoming struggles, enduring disappointment, and continuing to move forward despite uncertainty. This strength cannot be purchased, inherited, or borrowed from someone else. It is developed through experience. Every challenge you face has the potential to either break your confidence or strengthen your character. The difference often depends on how you choose to respond. Some people allow difficulties to convince them that they are incapable, while others use those same difficulties as opportunities to grow wiser, stronger, and more resilient. Life will test your patience, your commitment, and your faith, but every challenge also provides an opportunity to discover abilities and strengths that may have remained hidden under easier circumstances. One of the most valuable lessons a person can learn is how to remain consistent. Consistency is often overlooked because it lacks the excitement of dramatic breakthroughs and sudden success stories. Yet nearly every meaningful achievement is built upon small actions repeated over time. A single workout may not transform your health. One prayer may not immediately change your circumstances. One good decision may not instantly alter your future. However, when those actions are repeated day after day, week after week, and year after year, they create extraordinary results. Consistency is powerful because it transforms ordinary efforts into remarkable outcomes. It teaches us that success is rarely about perfection and almost always about persistence. Those who remain committed during the ordinary days often accomplish far more than those who rely solely on motivation. Another important aspect of growth involves learning to release the need for control. Many people experience unnecessary stress because they attempt to control outcomes that are beyond their influence. They worry constantly about what other people think, how future events will unfold, or whether everything will happen according to their plans. While responsibility requires effort and preparation, wisdom recognizes that not everything can be controlled. There comes a point where you must do your best and trust God with the rest. This does not mean becoming passive or careless. It means understanding the difference between what is your responsibility and what belongs in God's hands. When you release the burden of trying to control everything, you create space for peace. You stop exhausting yourself with endless worry and begin focusing your energy on actions that truly matter. Growth also requires honesty. It is impossible to improve areas of your life that you refuse to acknowledge. Honest self-reflection allows you to identify weaknesses without becoming discouraged by them. It helps you recognize unhealthy habits, destructive patterns, and limiting beliefs that may be preventing progress. Many people spend years blaming circumstances, other people, or bad luck for problems that could be improved through personal responsibility and growth. Honest reflection is not about self-condemnation. It is about self-awareness. It is the willingness to examine your life truthfully and make the changes necessary to become a better version of yourself. Those who embrace self-awareness position themselves for continuous improvement because they remain teachable and open to growth. The journey toward maturity often involves learning how to forgive. Carrying resentment may feel justified, but it places a heavy burden on your heart and mind. Unforgiveness keeps old wounds alive by forcing you to relive painful experiences repeatedly. Forgiveness does not mean excusing harmful behavior or pretending that pain never occurred. It means choosing not to allow past hurts to control your future. It is a decision to release bitterness and reclaim your peace. Some people spend years trapped by anger toward individuals who have long moved on with their lives. Meanwhile, forgiveness creates freedom. It allows you to focus on healing rather than resentment, growth rather than revenge, and peace rather than constant emotional conflict. This process may not happen overnight, but each step toward forgiveness strengthens your emotional and spiritual well-being. Another key principle is learning to appreciate progress without becoming complacent. There is a balance between gratitude for how far you have come and determination to continue growing. Some people become discouraged because they focus only on how far they still have to go. Others become complacent because they stop challenging themselves after achieving a certain level of success. Wisdom allows you to celebrate progress while maintaining a commitment to improvement. It encourages humility during success and perseverance during difficulty. This balance helps create a sustainable approach to growth that avoids both discouragement and complacency. Your journey is not defined by a single victory or a single setback. It is shaped by your willingness to continue learning, adapting, and moving forward, regardless of circumstances. As your confidence grows, you may notice that your priorities begin to change. Things that once seemed extremely important may lose their significance. The need for constant approval may fade. The desire to impress people may become less appealing. The opinions that once disturbed your peace may no longer carry the same weight. This shift occurs because maturity changes your perspective. You begin to understand that time and energy are valuable resources. Rather than spending them trying to satisfy everyone around you, you invest them in activities, relationships, and goals that align with your purpose. This creates greater clarity and direction. Instead of being pulled in multiple directions by every expectation and opinion, you develop the ability to remain focused on what truly matters. Faith continues to play a central role throughout this process. Faith provides hope during uncertainty, courage during fear, and perseverance during difficulty. It reminds us that our lives have meaning beyond temporary circumstances. Even when answers are delayed and plans do not unfold as expected, faith encourages us to keep moving forward. It teaches us that growth often occurs during seasons when progress seems invisible. Just as a foundation must be built before a structure can rise, many important developments take place beneath the surface before visible results appear. Trusting this process requires patience, but patience itself becomes part of the transformation. Every season has a purpose. Every challenge carries a lesson. Every obstacle presents an opportunity to develop qualities that cannot be gained through comfort alone. The person you are becoming is shaped not only by your successes, but also by how you respond to difficulties. Each decision to remain faithful, disciplined, patient, and hopeful strengthens the foundation of your character. Over time, these choices create a life marked by wisdom, integrity, resilience, and purpose. While the world often focuses on quick results and temporary recognition, true fulfillment is found in steady growth, meaningful relationships, unwavering faith, and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are becoming exactly who you were created to be.